Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Because now I know when something happens in our lives that is unexpected, you have to go into it in order to ever have any hope of coming through it. So when you go, guess what? When you come out the other side, you grow.
Brought out more in me than I thought that I didn't even know that I had.
That has given all of us a great hope for what we can do with our own messages, our abilities to deliver, but most importantly, to deliver it in an authentic and very, very intriguing way.
Have you ever been in something or felt something where the only way you felt you could deal with it was to leave, get away? I thought that was the meaning of control. It took me 4.5 years to stop looking around the room of my life, of my journey, of my purpose, digging in cushions for a remote that never existed. Looking, re-looking, going back and upgrading, bringing in and pulling out. Things that do not serve you must go. Those things out in this world that are designed to bring us down, to keep us down, put their foot on our neck and whisper to us that we're never good enough, they don't whisper. They yell at us from all directions, top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, corner to corner, 365 days. When somebody asks you about yourself, don't you dare whisper. When they ask you to raise your hand, don't you dare half raise it. When they ask you something good about you, you scream it with all you have. Come on now, get up, get up. Tell me who you are. Show me who you are. Greatest truth of all, that not everyone has to remain lost.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly see what's yours for the taking tonight.
You can tell by the way I'm hitting the bell. What's wrong with him? Oh, get ready. Oh, my goodness. Last night, night before, 24 robbers knocking on my door. Remember that? ADHD still working, so I can't be that bad off. Oh, I'm not going to go all into it. Horrible night last night for me. I don't know what it was. Some kind of food poisoning or something, but it knocked me down. I mean, like, right. So I'm up today, and I'm really happy. Even though I might seem a little, I'm really happy because Brianne is here today, and I didn't think she was going to be able to make it, but she did, and so I'm so excited. I met Brianne. You know, it's the RPXP takeover. This is the conclusion of week 2. We have 3, maybe 4 next week, I think, and then we have some further out in December that, you know, they were traveling and whatnot, couldn't come in until later, but the real rundown, the 2 weeks and something, is all the way through next Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. So today, rounding out this second week, is, how do you say that last name? Acio? Why do I feel it's a hard C, but it's, I don't know. We're going to find out. It's easy to say Acio, but we're going to find out. It's ACIO. You guys guess. What do you think? But Brianne, that's easy enough. Anyway, I met her at RPXP, and she was just a quiet little thing, just sitting over the side. You know me. What's up with her? Why is she so quiet? You know I'm going to get over there. Hi, what's your name? Let's hang out. And I did, just like Rebecca. When Rebecca was here, Rebecca was my other one. I was like, those two are mine. Those two right there, those are my besties. And so I had a great time. Her work is just incredible. I've never heard of anyone doing what she does. And here's how she said, this is how she put it out there. She works with underestimated founders in startup. Have you ever been underestimated? Where people are like, they ain't gonna do shit. You know what I'm saying? Where people just assume. I've been underestimated many times, and I've learned pretty much how to use it as fuel. But not everybody can do that, and that's why what Brianne does is so awesome. So I'm not even going to waste any time. I'm going to get her in here. Oh, that's right. They got a note for me. I want to tell you guys, first of all, I have a sponsor. I want to get it out of the way. On 11/11, there is a 90-minute television special with my coaching client, Robert A. Lane. He is an audiobook coach. And a couple of my clients are already doing it with him and are just, they're like, it's phenomenal. It's awesome. If you have a book that didn't go anywhere, you know, all my books, people send me books all the time. They think I read them. If it ain't Audible, it ain't happening. Audible, there goes the internet showing out. Audible, I love it when I'm in the car. So I get a lot in, especially when I'm traveling distance for different things. So anyway, we have a 90-minute special coming on November 11th. And here's what it looks like. I want you to get over. It is free. And this guy is awesome. When you sign up to do an audio book, he sends you all of the equipment. And it's yours to keep. So if you have other books, you can do it moving forward. So check it out.
know what's the greatest benefit of having an audiobook coach? Aside from showing you how to set up your recording space, teaching you how to do an awesome voiceover and narration, and showing you marketing techniques for your audiobook, it's support and accountability. Your coach is your support system, there for you to answer any questions throughout the process. And your coach is your accountability partner to make sure you get the job done.
Robert Lane. Another thing, scrolling along the bottom there, November is in fact National Adoption Month, and I am an adoptee. So I want you to do your due diligence, have a conversation. If you know someone who has a forever home, and there are 400,000 children waiting to be adopted in the United States alone. So most of them are in the foster system, and trust me, that's no place I wouldn't want my worst enemy to languish in there for too long. So adoptuskids.org. Head over and see what they're doing. Okay. So let's get her in here. Are you ready back there, Miss Thing, BREANNE? Here she comes. You know, first timers, been a lot of them this week. Put your hearts on the screen as we welcome BREANNE to the show. Here she comes. Oh my goodness. I'm like, usually I have my little heater on right here. Today I'm like going, I need to take this stuff off. I'm hot today instead of cold. Last night I was freezing. So weird. How are you?
The body is magic. It
It
fixes all of it for us.
Oh, well, I want mine fixed. Boy, I'm not kidding. Did I tell you this when we were backstage? At one point, I thought I was really going to die. I'm serious. I'm such a drama queen when it comes to pain. And I was like, look, source, universe, if this is it, can you just speed it up? Because I can't stand this pain. And I swear I could see them just looking at each other going, drama queen. Because I mean, how are you? You got a big pain threshold. Can you handle it?
I have a pretty big pain threshold, but also I'm a baby. So
Me too.
it really just depends.
Yes. It's how you been since San Diego when I was there? How have you been?
I've been good. I actually recently moved down here, like the week after I met you.
Oh wow,
I
because
moved
you were
down
where before?
I was in LA for a little bit.
LA. Oh well.
And the last name is Acio.
Acio. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
Okay, Acio. Nice. And where'd that name come from? Is it
Filipino?
It's Filipino.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know why. I was thinking it was Native American.
No, my dad was born in the Philippines, and then when Hawaii became a state, my grandma got citizenship because she was born in Hawaii.
Oh.
So they moved over to Hawaii when he was 4, and that's how he became American.
You actually look Hawaiian.
I've been told that. It's probably the Jew in me, like the half Jew.
Do you have Jewish in you?
Yeah, my mom's Jewish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy. Oh, my goodness gracious, girl, you got some of everything.
They call me a Hapa Haole in Hawaii.
In Hawaii? Do you have family over there still?
Yeah.
Okay, when are we going to visit them?
Whenever.
I'm
down to go. I have not been. Actually, my favorite time to go is spring. Because not many people are there. Plane tickets are cheap, and I can take you all around the island.
Really?
Well, at least Oahu, yeah.
We got to go. Brian and I want to go there so bad. And Coach Chuck, one of my original coaching clients, like 6 years now, excuse me, he lives there. I don't know where, but he's there. I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay, hold me to it. Also, I'm coming to Chicago to visit you at some point. But
I know. Your room's ready.
All right.
Brian already knows all about it. So anytime, you're welcome. I can't wait. Let's hop into, did I say it right? You work with underestimated founders in startup. Talk about that. Did you just make this up, Or are there other people that do this as well? And why? Why that lane?
An underestimated founder is, I don't know who came up with the term, but Arlen Hamilton uses it. She's a venture capitalist. Oh, my dog wants to say hi.
Oh,
as
what's
well.
his name?
This is Ark.
Ark, a boy.
Yep.
Hi, Ark.
Hi, bud.
He's cute.
Hi, bud. He just wants to be on camera.
He can
just
be
loves
on.
attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're on TV and you don't even know it. You're famous. So Arlen Hamilton is someone who's really disrupting the venture capital game. Historically in venture capital, even last year, women get 2% of venture capital. Venture capital is capital that goes into like investing in startups, investing in building companies. So pretty much every company you know of outside of a few are venture backed. Airbnb, you know, like I don't know, name a company and it's probably venture backed because it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
And if you think about how, like, who gets to start these companies have a large impact on culture and on people, like who they hire, what their values are, how they advertise, all of this. So if all of venture capital is going into a very small like group of people, particularly like specifically white men get the vast majority of venture capital, white male founders, it just leaves a whole slew of people out of the game. So the fact that women who make up over 50% of the world only get 2% of venture capital is pretty ridiculous.
Why
and
is that?
well, we just didn't question it until a little while ago. You know, gender equity has been a conversation for a long time. Women got the vote just over 100 years ago, but there's so many places and so many industries where pretty much every industry where women are still unequal. And then you bring in the fact that you bring in people of color and then LGBTQ people, people with disabilities. Like, these are people who experience the world in a different way. They see the world in a different way and they have different problems in their daily experiences. And they solve problems for that group of people. So what capitalism is, what business is a way to solve problems and build wealth. And if and people like me, the experience is really hard to build businesses. I myself, like Sēkr was my last company, and I raised $3.5 million for that startup. And I'm one of the very, very, very few women of color to do that for a pre-revenue consumer tech startup, and that's not fair. It's not good.
How do they know? I mean, like, if this is all a bunch of paperwork you're filling out, do they still make you divulge who you are? I mean, they know, like,
oh, it's not paperwork.
Oh,
it's not paperwork. It is pitching. It's all face to face.
Oh,
or since COVID, Zoom face to face, relationship based. So people tend to invest in people who look like them, which is yeah.
So what was different for you? Talk about the very first dollar that you went for out of that 3 million, that first appointment, that first face to face. Were you about ready to crap yourself going in there? Were your palms sweaty? Could you tell when you walked in? They're like, what was it like for you?
You know, this whole world, I had no idea it existed. I was teaching at San Diego State University. I taught communication, and there was this startup incubator called the Zip Launchpad. Most universities have startup incubators that help you build businesses. Okay. And because I was a professor there, I got in, and they taught me how to build a pitch deck, how to have an idea and turn it into a scalable business and pitch it. So I went in for a practice pitch. It was like one of the end of the year pitches.
Yeah.
And
Pitch set.
Andy Ballister, who is the founder of GoFundMe, happened to be in the room.
Oh.
And because he works with founders and really, like, he's an amazing person. But he ended up getting my number and setting up a meeting and saying, I want to invest in your company.
So how did that feel?
Oh man, the first check. Oh, it felt great. It was like someone believes in you that much. And now I see, after years in the world of startup, like $100,000, unfortunately, is very little money. Like, that's not enough money to build a company.
Yeah.
But like, at the time, I think my first check was like $50,000, and it was the biggest deal, because it was finally like, I have been killing myself my entire life to be seen, to be like worth something, for someone to believe in me. I'm like the first person in my family with a college degree, let alone a master's degree. And this was like, yeah, someone sees me.
Validation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are they like staring over your shoulder now that you have their check? We see you spent $17 last Thursday of our 50 grand we gave you. You want to explain that? How does Starbucks feed into this business? So I'm saying, how does it work? You get the check, because I know me, I'd been like, hell, where's Lauren? His phone is going straight to voicemail. I'll be laying in Cancun drinking a Mai Tai or something. Like, oh, you mean I couldn't use this for a vacation? Probably go to jail. So let's talk about that. Who teaches people what to do and how to do their best with this money as it comes in? Because you said yourself, $50,000, $100,000 isn't really that much. You got 50. How did you know what to do with it until the next came? Did you use that 50 to pull in what you needed next? Did you have to prove something with it in order to say, look, it's here now. See this? This is what I did with 50 grand. Now give me some more. How did it work?
Yeah. Before you get a check, you have built out an entire strategy for scale. So I had financial projections. It wasn't just like, there are plenty of people who do deals on napkins where they're like, I have this idea, and somebody invests in them. That's traditionally called a friends and family round, which founders like myself don't have access to, because our networks and our family don't have money.
Don't have money.
So what we do as like underestimated founders who can't do a friends and family round, you build out the entire business model, you like make it super solid, and he's investing in that. So I had a spreadsheet, like a pretty significant spreadsheet of projections, which are always wrong. The one thing you know about financial projections is that they're going to be wrong. But have you thought it through, and how have you thought it through? That's what they're investing in. They're investing in you. And then you hit milestones. Andy ended up investing in every single one of our rounds afterwards because we kept hitting milestones.
Like what? Name one. What is that? What's that look like? A milestone?
You get to decide with your mentors, and always bring in mentors for when you build a startup. There are so many people in this world who have found success, and they wouldn't have been able to do it without mentors. So they mentor other people the same way I mentor other people.
Okay.
So always bring in mentors very, very early on. And so my first milestone was building out the MVP, with the minimum viable product, which was an app.
Oh.
And we had a waiting list of about 5,000 people. So that was our MVP. For other MVPs, it may be that you have 10 customers signed up for a product that costs $20,000. You know, it really depends on what company you're trying to build. But the beauty of it is there's resources out there for everyone, and there's people out there. And I realized how difficult it was for me, like the same way you're questioning, like you have no idea what I'm talking about, probably.
Nope. It sounds like when it comes out of your mouth, I did the potato, like Chinese or something. I'm like, okay, whatever, girl.
But if you have an idea and to change the world at scale, I want to help you. Like, you can have a massive impact on the world, and you do have a massive impact on the world. That's why it's so important, and I'm passionate about helping underestimated founders understand this world, or the world of venture capital and startup. Because I just needed someone to take a chance on me. I needed someone to like see me, to really see me, and I needed to learn, and I was hungry to learn. So I do that for other founders. And really, you get beat down by rejection. You really get beat down by rejection when you're pitching a business that is everything to you.
That's why we like Shark Tank so much. You know, to see like, yeah, take your ass back home. You ain't getting shit here, you know. Yeah. But then we celebrate when somebody, you know, because my husband got addicted to, he watches it when I go to bed, Shark Tank, because I saw he was DVRing it. And I was like, why do you watch that? He goes, because I love to watch when a person comes in and they don't stop. They just barrel their way through about, I don't care if you want it or not. I'm going to do this. And sometimes that'll change the shark's mind. So I get it. But what about this piece? It seems like just the lingo is like you got to be a degreed person to understand it. You might identify an underestimated founder, but is the underestimated founder in most cases able to identify themselves? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because if you came to me and say, hey, Lauren, I saw, you know, this idea you have for, let's say, the next Impactor, the competition I have with influencers. Yeah, and that kind of stuff did cross my mind because Netflix was in the audience that night, you know, with showrunners. They were there. Excuse me. And I didn't know what to do with that stuff after that. Apology accepted way back in 1988. All those people. And I remember when Lou Gurnick, the founder of Franchise Business International, he founded Midas. He franchised Midas Mufflers, John Casablanca's Pizza Hut, places like that. And he was saying, you know, this is going to be franchisable one day. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I mean, he met me for lunch and stuff. And I was like, yeah, thanks, you know, and because it had never been in the world before, a company that will apologize for you. So let's talk about the person that has, oftentimes some people will have a great idea and it's not at all. Then some people have a great idea and don't realize just how great it is. And how do you know? Because there are people who will steal. So how do you know when you're not a degreed person? You're underestimated. How do we find you?
So what I would recommend for anyone who has a startup idea is Google. First of all, Google like what a startup is or startup ideas, and look for startup incubators or startup accelerators in your area. There are so many accelerator and incubator programs in the United States. Techstars is one that I went through. They're one of the largest and most successful accelerators in the world. But there are smaller ones. There's some that focus specifically on Black women. There's some that focus specifically on like people of color. There's some who focus like angels on queer people. Really, just Google is your best friend, honestly.
Yes.
When it comes to like getting in San Diego, we have a ton of resources. There's nonprofit organizations that you can literally go in and meet with an advisor or an attorney. But really, there's a balance between talking to people so that they might steal your idea, and sharing your idea so that it can get legs.
Right. Because people, and that's a great point right there. Even in my coaching, people will have ideas and they'll go, well, I'm saving up because I need to get it registered or trademarked. They think it's some kind of protection, and it takes money, and sometimes they do it themselves, sometimes they don't do it at all. A lot of stuff falls through the cracks, just gets left behind. A lot of great ideas. So Google, and then let me ask you this: what about a nonprofit? Is that considered a business?
Well, yes, nonprofits operate like businesses aside from the capital allocation
Okay.
piece, and the mission piece. But Backstage Capital is a company, everyone can look it up. They help a lot of founders. Arlen Hamilton is the CEO of Backstage Capital, and they're really like changing the game for underestimated founders. Arlen is one of my investors in Sēkr. But she has resources for new founders. Just start getting information, like listening and reading, and talk to people who know what they're doing. Like, ask questions.
Yeah. How much of the vision do you need to have solid from when you move into these waters? How much of it, because some people have a great idea, but they haven't thought it out completely. Where do you go for that kind of help, so that when you do reach out to these organizations like Backstage Capital, you're ready? It's just like in a nonprofit sector. If you're applying for a grant, you just can't throw anything on the grant application. You have to have the narrative thought out. The financials have to be right. Boom, 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 boom. So is there a place where people can go to get ready to pitch?
Arlen, so Backstage Capital has resources to help you get ready to pitch. The Startup Incubator and the Startup Accelerator,
Okay.
the Lean Startup. So there is a whole process to go through before you even get to the pitching phase. Like an entire process. Like it probably took me 6 months of working quite hard to get to the place where I was ready to pitch. Yeah, because you're interviewing people, you're doing market research, you're running numbers, you're looking at like competitors, you're getting acquainted with the language that people use.
Now, I know a lot of young people. I've had a couple of coaching clients who I'm on my third 6-figure exit, and he's 28 years old,
Awesome.
seriously. And I'm like, what? And how they'll see something that's already there, but they see how it could be better. And so they take that, for instance, I had a friend who saw a phone holder on a bike, and they said, we could rework this. And they did. And they thought it was going to be 2 years. It was like a year and something. And they sold it for a lot of money. And I'm like, how do they know how to do this? So I guess what I want to know now is, is there a litmus test, a checkpoint, bullet points? You probably have a great idea. If check, 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 check. So, because it like I do. A lot of people think they have great ideas and they suck. I'm just saying.
I wish it was that easy. But really, the only way you know if you have a great idea is to test it. Is to see if people want it, see if people will buy it. And it's so different, the experience of validating your idea when you have a technology product versus a consumer product versus a service. Like, there's so many different types of ideas that you can have, and it's all about will people buy it?
Yeah. So, Brienne, are there certain sectors or lanes that are traditionally more successful than others? So, like for instance, something that pours into social change, or a tech item. Is there a lane that is more successful than the other? I mean, like number one startup this year was, in second place was. Is there something like that where you can get a pulse?
I mean, you can look at is success, the definition of success varies widely, right? So if you're measuring success by the amount of venture capital a company raises, you can just look at like a venture report from last year, like what industries were the most
Yeah.
got the most venture capital.
Okay. A venture report.
I know. So the area of startup that I'm most passionate about is our social startups, like companies that have a social impact that want to make good in the world.
Yeah.
And those, unfortunately, are very underfunded because their number one mission is not the bottom line for shareholders. It is the impact on the world.
On the
And
world.
the second is the bottom line for their shareholders. So there's I believe, and this is what I want to prove by the end of my life, is that there isn't that capitalism and social good are not mutually exclusive. They can be one and the same. You can have a really successful startup that makes an impact and makes a lot of money, and that is proven historically, but I want that to be the norm in venture capital, that social good and making money are not considered two separate things.
Yes, because that first one, bottom line for shareholders, is greed based. I mean, when you break down, it's greed based, whereas social is need based. You see, you like that, right? I finally
love
got
that.
something.
Yeah,
I got something
there
that
you go.
fit, right?
There you go.
And I felt like I do not belong in this conversation. Okay, greed or need?
Oh
So
no, we gotta have another conversation, just more simplified.
yes, thank you. But I do want to ask you about a sector that is near and dear to my heart, and I wonder if they are in that. Are they considered underestimated founders? And I mean veterans, because I work with a lot of veteran small business owners, and veterans come out and they're so dedicated, they're so disciplined. They come and they is have you worked with any veterans? Are they considered underestimated founders? The veteran population?
I don't think they're considered underestimated, but there are services and organizations that support veterans in like business for loans, for mentorship, and for things like that. But yeah, I think veterans. I know a couple founders who are veterans, but they don't identify as underestimated founders. Um, are you there?
Okay, are
Hello?
we back? There.
There you
Is-
are.
Okay, are you there? There we go. There we go. Are you hello? Are you alive? Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
So
I'm there.
so um here's why I asked about veterans. I know there's a lot of things because we have like, when it comes to loans and zero interest and Fannie Mae and Fannie Mac and all that, or Freddie Mac rather. And I haven't used any of them. I plan to, but where I thought they might fit in is because of the mental health aspect. A lot of us have PTSD, schizophrenia, all kinds of stuff from serving. And so I just wondered if that is how is, or is it so buried underneath the obvious loans and resources that they aren't considered underestimated? Because a lot,
Underestimated is,
when they come home, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, underestimated is not, it's not like an official, there's no, it's just a term used to describe people who are underestimated at first sight. Like, you see this person and, like, so you and I both, I'm a woman, you're a black man.
Yeah.
Like, both of us are queer, and, like, we're underestimated. That's like, people will look at us and think less of us, or not think
Oh,
that we can.
automatically.
Yes. Yeah. So it's more based on your identity. Um, but again, I don't define underestimated. Um, it's just a term I use, and that is used to describe people who,
I'm
like,
glad to
at
hear it.
first sight would not be taken seriously, or
Right.
are often not taken
What
seriously.
about seniors? You get a great idea, but people say you're too old to be trying to start this thing up. Have you ever run into that? Is that a thing?
Uh, you know, I I don't know. When it comes to early stage startups, you don't see many seniors. I know, so people in their 50s and 60s, yeah, I do see quite a few people starting businesses.
Oh, in 50s and 60s? I'm 60.
Yeah,
What? Oh, so that's
there you
not
go.
considered old yet?
I'm
Have I told you
you Would
lately I
I
love you?
consider you old? No.
61, girl.
No. Oh my gosh.
So that's
Dude,
not
you
too
can,
late?
no, no, not at all.
Huh.
There are so many stories of success after. I know, like, I can think of 3 people just off the top of my head who started really successful businesses after they retired because they got bored.
Wow. Wow. So what is the average when a person has this idea and they go, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to find myself an incubator. I'm going to find myself that accelerator. And then it's 2023, almost 20, let's just say 2024. How much time should a person lay over it? What's the calendar? You know what I'm saying? Is there an average amount of time? Like, it usually takes a minimum of 3 years or to get all the testing done. And this, I know it will probably have something to do with the different things that you're doing, but what's the average? How long did it take you to get
It
up and
is, it's all different depending on the business. So I've built 3 businesses so far. My first business, I started with no money, and I did $1 million in my first 12 months in revenue. That was my
running?
first business. First time ever starting a company. $1 million in the first 12 months.
Wow.
That this last one, I went the venture route. That was called bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is when you build a business that makes revenue to run itself, to build itself. That's
Okay.
bootstrapping. When you go the venture route, which happens with most technology startups or manufacturing startups, because it takes a lot of money to build the product up front, then that's when you raise money. That takes longer to get to the point where you can go to market. But with a service, let's say you're a coach, like you run a business yourself.
Yeah.
So with services, you don't need to raise capital for it. You build a website, you network with people, you talk to people. Um, there's no timeline on it. If there were easy answers to everything, I think everyone would be a founder.
True.
Yeah. But
True.
that's why I know how difficult it was for me, and I know my potential to impact the world. And so many people have the fire that I have, but don't have the access to the information or the tools that I have.
That's
And I
it
really,
right there.
yeah.
What about this one? AI.
Mm.
Is that going to help this or hinder, in your opinion? Might be too soon to speak on it, but what do you think?
I don't know. There's people who know way more than I do. I think for founders specifically, there are certain things that can help founders. But like there's tools that can help founders using Chat GPT to write. Like it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
makes things so much easier. But at the same time, like the impact it will have in the long run, I'm not. I can't speak to that.
Right. And well, I can. I kind of
Yeah.
think like because I tell my clients because we use it on a little a small scale, for messaging and whatnot. But I tell them you can't put sawdust in the front end and expect, mahogany to come out the back end. You're gonna get that plasterboard stuff. Everybody has bought one of those in your first apartment, one of those bookshelves that was that press board, and in 3 months it was leaning and all the little particle done where the screws ate all the stuff out. Right. So you can't, you can't throw aluminum foil in the front end and expect platinum to come out the end. And I say this because AI doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have a soul. And when you're doing, especially things that impact social change and stuff, that comes from your soul. That's a desire that your soul came, it's a thirst you came here to quench. Like you said it. By the time I finish this life of mine, I want to have, you see what I mean? AI doesn't have a goal like that. It can just data mine and go out and stuff. So I think like that. But I want to ask you, boy, this has moved really quickly. We've got less than 8 minutes left. What about, do you feel that a lot of great ideas are lost because people don't feel confident enough? How, because I've heard some people say some really great ideas. Like, that's a great idea. And they just don't have a confidence, fear of rejection. Because what if people give you this money and it doesn't work? Do you have to give it back? I mean, what they just lose it? What happens?
When you raise money, you raise money from institutional investors or accredited investors.
Okay.
These people know that they're taking a bet. Only 1 in 10 startups succeed. Their assumption is that, like, when they invest in you, the likelihood of your failure is so high. That's why you don't take money from someone who like any person who invested in my company was able to lose that money.
It's almost like when they say don't loan somebody something if you can't afford to not get it back.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to be an accredited investor to invest in a startup. Accredited, it basically means that you make like $250 a year or more, or you have more than $1 million in assets outside of your primary residence. So you have to be an accredited investor in order to invest in a startup. As a founder, I don't want to take money from someone who can't afford to invest in my startup because I don't want someone looking over my shoulder.
Right.
Like I want to be able to build the startup. That's my goal, not to babysit somebody. So your first question was like, do some people just quit before they start?
Yeah.
And part of me is like, I didn't know we were going to get so deep into this conversation. So I wish I had brought it differently, because I'm making it seem untouchable. Like I feel like the way that we've been having this conversation makes it seem like it's nearly impossible, and it isn't. It's just it's just one conversation at a time, and it's the right conversations. And where people give up on themselves
Yeah.
is that they don't have those conversations. They don't want to reach out, or they don't think they're worth talking to. At first, I didn't think I deserved to be in rooms with people who were successful, because
Yeah.
I had never been around it, and I thought they were like a different type of person than I was. But the fact is that they're not at all. Like, everyone is the same, but we have this imposter syndrome oftentimes.
There it is.
So and coaching. So basically, how I act is like a coach for underestimated founders.
Yes.
That's sort of what it is with
Yeah.
strategy and business strategy. I just have the expertise of like startup and venture capital.
The expertise. Yeah, you're being modest, but I feel like you got to have a nose for it. Your instincts, because anybody that's successful, people that invest and stuff, they have an instinct. People with stock markets and stuff. Look at Chris Gandy and look at Michael, who we met at the RPXP. They went to school and this and the other, but they have a knack. They have a gift for just because they love it. They could eat, sleep, drink what they do. It doesn't feel like work. And I always say this, look for someone that what you're looking for isn't a job, it's a calling.
Yeah.
It's a calling. If they talk about it like it's a calling, I don't want to do anything else. Even if I could, I wouldn't. Then you're probably onto something really special. How does that sound to you? Is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It feels like that. It's like it's not even work. It is work. It is hard work, but there's something inside you that drives you to do it. It's not the same as a job. It's like it's part of who you are.
And part of who you are. There you go. So if people wanted to ask you some questions or hire you, what would be the best way to reach out?
You can reach me at BREANNE@gmail.com. I don't have a coaching business or anything like that. Or on Instagram at the Ladies Van.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys this one right here. There is her email. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm also going to drop this inside of your comment section for easy access at the conclusion here in just a minute. I really love what you do because it just, to me, whoo, that's a tough nut to crack. The work you do, it's challenges around every single corner, but it means so much to you to change the opportunity factor for people. And a lot of people won't take that on as a life's mission. You know, when I hear people like you talk, it reminds me of, believe it or not, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, because he talked about one day when little black boys and little white girls and little black, the comparison of all playing together. Right after that, he said, now I may not get there with you, because he knew that it was bigger than the time he had here. But I still believe that we will get there. And we did. And we did. And so that's proof that, you might start something that now other people pick up and keep moving with it until that change has changed once and for all. And I just think that is a huge piece. I honor you. I couldn't do it. I mean, I know we all say that, but we kind of are doing it from our own little corner of the world. But the thing you're doing just seems so difficult. But again, it would be if it was just a job. But
yeah. You know what though? You're gonna get into it. You and I are gonna do something together. We're gonna impact people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do something together. I know it. I feel it in me. Yeah.
I receive that.
All right.
I really do. I receive that because I'm gonna tell you something. I was like sitting here and I was going, man, where was she 10 years ago? Where was she 5 years ago? Because I get a lot of downloads for really great ideas. I really do. And I've tested a few. You know, when Apology Accepted happened, there was no internet, but I was on everybody's talk show. Everybody's. I was on all of them. Ricky Lake, Gordon Elliott, Montel, Oprah, all of them. People, magazine, all of them. There was no internet. And I still sometimes just sit back and go, how in the world? Right. Because it had never been done before. So I think that that possibility is still alive and well. And because of people like you, more people like us can do things that we might have never thought we could. And I just think that's awesome. So there it is. Stick around backstage real quick. I want to say goodbye to you properly. And thank you so much. I know you didn't want to get up, but I'm glad you did. Thank you for pouring into us. I have never had this conversation. 90% of what you dropped today, I didn't even know was a thing. And I know the viewers will agree. And just thank you for caring about those people who the world has put on mute. Those that people look around and step over, underestimated founders. So in startup, love it. Keep doing what you're doing. And I can't wait to see what we're going to do. So
yes.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Of course. And you guys, thank you for spending today and every day this week with me. I wouldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Now get out of here. Have the best weekend ever. Remember that I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So get out of here and find your highest self today. Wherever you look, you'll find it. You'll see. Brianne, thank you so much. I just love you. Okay. Well, I'll see you. Oh, thank you. Bye, all. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Trying to get out of here.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.